Hi, I'm John with 520 Greens. Today I wanted to share with you how I do my seedlings for my hydroponic market garden. I have some half-strength hydroponic nutrients, all my seedlings and plant tags. This is Oasis Cube. These are 10 by 20 sheets. Each one has 162 squares in it. I have 2 of those. Then I use these trays right here to hold my Oasis cubes because they fit inside this and allow me to pick this entire thing up out of this 10 by 20 tray and put into my small flood and drain system for later growing. The one downside with these is that I do have to break off the last section of these Oasis cubes for them to fit. So I take my Oasis cubes with the end cut off. They will just barely fit into this tray holder. Then they go in my 10 by 20 tray. And I take my half-strength hydroponic solution and fill the tray up, get everything nice and saturated. A lot of people say that you should just use pure water, but I've tried this both ways with hydroponic solution and with pure water, and I get about 3 days more growth using hydroponic solution right out the bat. Once it's mostly full, you can press these down a bit and they'll start wicking up the fluid, and you can tip this and get everything nice and saturated. And put that one aside. Break off the last row on this one. Then I'll use the excess liquid in here, now that these have been soaked, and pour inside this. It doesn't have to be completely empty, but mostly empty. Then I pour out the excess into a bucket, and this goes to water the pots on my patio. So the way I have my hydroponic system set up is every week I try to mature 20 troughs of plants. That way I can take 10 to each market. Each one of my troughs has 14 holes. Each one of these rows of Oasis cubes has 17 holes. I'll seed the entire row with one plant so that I always have a full gutter. When I have extras, I use the extras to fill in empty spots in other gutters. For the most part, everything gets seeded the same, but I'm constantly making tweaks. The first thing I started off with is a muir lettuce. Most of my seeds are pelletized. That makes them very easy to handle. And I just pinch a few and drop them in the hole. It goes really quickly once you get used to it. So I will do 3 entire rows of the muir lettuce. It's one of my best sellers. I'll have 2 gutters with muir, and then I will have 2 gutters that are going to be half muir and half something else. Usually I do half green, sweet green Chris. It's also one of my best sellers. And then I have a set of tweezers here, so whenever I drop one, I can just reach in there and grab it. And each row gets their own plant tag. I'll generally just put the date that I seeded on them and the type. And it doesn't matter if anyone else can read them because I'm the only one that looks at them. My next most popular one is the sweet green Chris. I'll do 3 rows of that. So when I go to the market, I'll have 1 trough completely full of muir, and then 1 trough that's going to be half muir and half sweet green crisp. I usually flip it around, make it easier to do the next row, which will be Tropicana. Tropicana is a wonderful multi-purpose lettuce. It gets to be a nice big head without bolting, It has a nice leaf that has some crunch to it, but also has quite a bit of flexibility. It's really good for things like wraps as well as salads. A lot of times I will mix up some of the lettuce. Today I'm going to do some purple fusion. It's a beautiful head of lettuce. Flavor is merely okay compared to most of my lettuce, but still better than anything you can buy in the store. But it adds a nice color to a salad mix. I'll do my romaine lettuce. Romaine at this time of year for me is kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it grows wonderfully and sometimes it's not even worth taking to the market, but I always like to have some romaine because it does sell pretty good. Then my red butterhead. It's on the smaller side of my lettuces, but it is absolutely gorgeous and tastes wonderful. I do green also, but the red butterhead looks a lot better than the green and gets a bit bigger. I'll usually throw in just 3 or 4 green butterheads for the people that really would prefer a green one. So I'm not going to seed these all the way to the end. And the next two I do are called Green Star and Cherokee Crisp. And Green Star is a really big head of lettuce, too big to plant them every 8 inches apart. So what I end up doing is planting Green Star next to my Cherokee Crisp, which is a much skinnier plant, very similar to a red romaine. So my trough will have 1 Green Star, 1 Cherokee Crisp alternating. That way they complement each other really well space-wise. Now the last 2 rows I do quite a bit differently. I generally do 1 trough that's a mixture between cilantro, arugula, and pak choi. All 3 of those will sell, but not in quantities. So if I do like 4 bok choy, 7 arugula, and the rest cilantro, I tend to sell out of those. The rest of these are not pelletized, so I have this little seeder, and I use that and a plant tag to do the seeding of those. I'll just roll a couple seeds down each one. I do bok choys 2 at a time because they get so big. I find if I do 2, they will lay on either side of each other and balance it out and not tip over the entire trough. The cilantro is not pelletized, but they are a nice big seed. When it comes to cilantro, each one of those is actually 2 seeds fused together. So I'll drop 2 of the spheres in each hole, which will actually be 4 seeds. My arugula, so I've been told, is delicious. I am personally not a fan, but whatever floats your boat. So that's about 300 seedlings right there. Last thing I do for my lettuce is I have the sprayer that has a couple tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide and water. I'll take that and just kind of mist the top. That helps break down the clay balls and makes them germinate a bit quicker. After that, they get these black lids to keep them in darkness for about 2 days before they go into my flood and drain system. Now this is my seedling closet. I'll put the seedlings I just done on top with their blackouts. Underneath here, these are 7 days old and these are 14 days old. These will be ready to go into my hydroponic system in about 3 days. I also do a lot of basil in a tower garden, so it's pretty much the same process. I have about 36 cubes of oasis here. I'm gonna wet that down. This oasis cube material is really fragile when dry, but once it gets wet, it's a little bit more forgiving. It's okay if they break apart because they're going to be separated when it comes to plant anyways. As long as you don't smash them too much, you don't want them to turn into a pancake. But that's perfectly fine. So today I'm going to do 4 different types of basil. I have some traditional basil, some lemon basil, some cinnamon basil, and some Thai basil. This is a sweet Thai basil, tiny little seeds. I'm going to use tweezers to plant these. Maybe not. My last basil is a lemon basil. It makes really good pesto. These get the same treatment as the lettuce, a little bit of water and hydrogen peroxide spray. And these go back into my seeding closet. What I do today is some cloning. I have the same oasis cubes. I'm just popping them in this divided cell tray, push them all the way to the bottom, take the same nutrients we've been using and wet each one of them. This is a Mexican oregano plant. It's been living on my windowsill for about 3 years, and I'm gonna make a bunch of clones out of it. I'm gonna take some sharp shears and cut one of the limbs off. And each one of these set of leaves, if you just snip at the base there. And then this is Clonex. It's just a generic cloning gel. I've also used cinnamon in the past, and it works almost as well. You take that, dip it in the gel, and just stick it in the cube there. And then in about a week to 10 days, this will be rooted out and ready to either be planted in the dirt or into my tower gardens. There you go, and these will go into my seeding closet with everything else. So that's it for seeding this week. Here I have my basil that will go into my tower gardens on Monday. This basil is a week old, and this is the stuff we just seeded. Then my clones of the Mexican oregano. Here we have the 300 seedlings that we just did. My flood and drains run for about 1.5 minutes each day. That's just enough for them to saturate the oasis cube and then drain out the excess water. I hope you found the video enjoyable. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them.